The Grand Galactic Council Chamber was a place of endless noise. Voices of 100 species filled the air, some speaking in harsh clicks, others in deep growls, and still others in musical tones that echoed off the polished walls. At the center stood the great circular floor, where delegates faced each other under the watch of the towering silver dome. Humanity's seat was near the outer ring, far from the central podium where the oldest and most powerful empires sat. It was a small seat, and to most here, an unimportant one. Humanity was the youngest member of the council, a newcomer from a small, green world on the edge of explored space. To some, the humans were an interesting curiosity. To others, they were a nuisance. But to most, they were a joke. Too soft, too polite, too careful. That day, the chamber was louder than usual. A vote had just been called over control of Karos 4, a mineral-rich mining world near the border of Terran space. Humanity had invested decades of work there, building safe settlements and training local workers. But the Voran Empire won. Of the most feared powers in the galaxy had claimed the planet as their own. The council floor was split into two sides. On one, human allies argued that Terran stewardship had turned Karos IV into a stable, prosperous world. On the other, the Voran and their supporters spoke of inefficient human management and lost economic potential. In the end, the numbers were against humanity. When the vote was called, the council's High Chancellor announced the result in a cold, neutral voice. By a margin of 72 to 30, ownership of Karos IV will be transferred to the Voran Empire effective. Immediately, the chamber erupted. Voran delegates clapped their clawed hands together in a slow, mocking rhythm. Other species shook their heads at the humans, muttering about how they had no real power. The Voran delegate, tall and wrapped in ceremonial crimson armor, rose from his seat. His eyes, like black glass, locked on the human table. His voice was deep and sharp, carrying easily across the hall. "Humans," he said, "you are like pet animals who pretend to be warriors. You smile, you talk, you shake hands. But in the end, you obey when the leash is pulled. You have no place claiming worlds beyond your reach." Laughter rippled through the alien ranks. Some covered their faces in mock embarrassment for humanity. Others smirked openly. The Terran ambassador, Elias Kane, did not move at first. He sat perfectly still, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he rose from his seat. His dark suit was simple, without the gold and jewels other delegates flaunted. He stepped forward into the light, facing the Voran without a hint of fear. When he spoke, his voice was calm. "Too calm. We have been merciful for your sake," Kane said, every word clear in the chamber's translation systems. "Pray you never see us without it." The room went quiet for half a second. Then the laughter returned, louder than before. To the other delegates, it was a bluff, empty words from a powerless species. The Voran delegate tilted his head, smirking. "Mercy? From you? The galaxy already knows your limits, human. You will sit down, sign the documents, and thank us for leaving you your homeworld." Kane didn't answer. He simply turned, walked back to his seat, and gathered his papers. Council moved on to its next topic, as if nothing had happened. The insult would be remembered by humans, but dismissed by everyone else. But far away, beyond the walls of the chamber, something was already moving. At the edge of Terran space, in the darkness between stars, great shadows drifted silently. They were not merchant ships nor science vessels. They were warships, sleek, black, and armed with weapons few in the galaxy had ever seen. From the icy rings of Titan to the deep orbital yards above Mars, fleets were leaving dock. Crews strapped into acceleration couches. Weapon bays sealed shut, their contents hidden in the dark. In the asteroid belts, long slumbering defense stations powered up for the first time in decades. their sensors sweeping the void like the eyes of awakening predators. On the Terran flagship Iron Resolve, Admiral Kalen stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. Through the reinforced viewport, he watched the fleet form up in silence. "All units report ready," a voice said over comms. "Good," Kalen replied. "Begin silent jump procedures. No transmissions, no signals. I want the galaxy to have no warning." One by one, Terran warships vanished into hyperspace, leaving only the cold emptiness of space behind. Back in the council chamber, Ambassador Kane sat quietly, his eyes focused on nothing in particular. Outwardly, he appeared calm, defeated, even. But in his mind, he could already see the first Voran patrol ships disappearing without trace. He could see the look on their faces when they realized the pet animals had teeth. The galaxy thought humanity was soft. The galaxy thought humanity was polite. The galaxy had just made the last mistake it would ever make in peace. The Galactic Council Hall was unlike anything the human eye had seen. Floating banners of alien empires drifted high. Above, each glowing with its own color and crest. The air shimmered with the scent of hundreds of atmospheres mixing together, carefully balanced by environmental drones. At the center of it all, a circular table stretched wide, large enough to seat over 1,000 species. Today, every seat was taken except one, the Terran Union's place. A wide, empty chair made of polished obsidian sat in silence. Above it, Earth's emblem, a blue sphere surrounded by stars, flickered faintly, as if it could vanish at any moment. The council speaker, a towering insectoid named Shurthel, clicked his mandibles as he opened the session. His multifaceted eyes scanned the room before focusing on that one empty seat. "Let the record show," Shurthal began in a voice that echoed like grinding stone, "that the Terran Union has failed to appear once again. This marks 117 cycles of absence." The crowd erupted in murmurs, laughter, and scoffs. "Why do we still keep their emblem here?" A reptilian delegate hissed. "They are extinct. They always were too violent for civilized space," another added. A sleek, silver-skinned envoy from the Zainari Republic leaned forward, smirking. "Humans were a mistake. A dangerous species from a death world destined to burn themselves out. Their wars proved it." Laughter rippled across the chamber. Even the older races, who had once respected humanity's ferocity, joined in the awe. Mockery. One younger diplomat whispered to his aide, "If they were still alive, they'd be here. Instead, they hide or they're dust by now." But then, the laughter began to falter. The hall's massive entrance doors carved from the alloy of collapsed stars creaked open. No one had requested entry. No one had signaled arrival. And yet, through the growing silence, a single figure stepped inside. It was a human. Not the frail, underfed humans the galaxy remembered from their last wars, but a tall, calm figure wearing a long black formal coat, lined with silver. His boots made no sound on the polished floor. His face was unreadable. The crowd froze. Every eye turned toward him. "Who is that?" A delegate whispered. "Impossible. The Terrans are gone." Another said. The human said nothing as he crossed the hall, moving with the quiet confidence of someone who didn't need to prove he belonged. When he reached the empty Terran chair, he didn't sit. Instead, he placed a small black case on the table. The case hissed open, revealing a crystalline data shard. Without asking permission, he activated it. The shard projected a single line of glowing text into the air. "We remember. And we are coming." The hall erupted into chaos. Some demanded security. Others demanded explanations. But a few, the oldest races who had fought alongside humanity, sat in complete silence because they recognized that phrase. It was the same message Earth had sent before its last war. No human ships, no messages, No retaliation. The alien media called it the final humiliation. Broadcasts showed empty space where the Terran fleets once patrolled. Commentators claimed Earth's people were probably hiding in some far-off corner, too weak to fight, but deep inside a forgotten asteroid belt, far from any trade routes, something stirred. It was not a planet. It was not a station. It was a fortress. The Iron Citadel, a massive hidden human base, sat buried beneath layers of rock and ice. It had been built in secret decades ago, designed for one purpose: to awaken only if Earth itself was in danger. God, and now it was a white dot inside the Citadel's command core. A single AI monitored the galaxy's comms, known only as Sentinel-1. It was older than many of the Council's empires. Its voice was calm, but its systems burned with quiet rage. Threat assessment confirmed, Sentinel-1 said to itself, scanning the transmissions from the Council. Humiliation of Earth. Unacceptable. Retaliatory protocols initiating. The base's long-range transmitters flared to life, sending encrypted signals into deep space. The messages were not words, they were summons. Across uncharted sectors, ancient Terran warships received the call. One by one, dark shapes began moving in the void. The first warning on the edge of the Zarkari Empire. A massive ore-hauling station detected something strange, a black signal, a type of transmission banned since the old wars. The signal repeated one line, over and over. Prepare yourselves. The debt will be paid. At first, the Zarkari officials dismissed it as a hoax. But then a scout patrol vanished 20 ships, gone without a trace. No wreckage. No escape pods. Just nothing. Within hours, rumors spread across the Empire. The humans are back. Inside the Council Inn, the glittering council chamber, panic began to whisper through the ranks. Ambassadors received reports of unknown vessels moving through dead space. No transponder codes. No heat signatures. Ships that shouldn't exist. Council leader Karth slammed a claw on the table. This is impossible. Humanity was finished. We saw their fleets broken. A quiet voice from the back spoke. It was the Thal Corps ambassador, whose people had once fought humans and barely survived. You never saw their real fleets, only what they let you see. The room fell silent. The approach far out in the black. The first of the Terran dreadnoughts broke stealth. It was colossal, 4 kilometers of armored hull, bristling with weapons that looked more like planetary defense cannons than ship turrets. Its hull bore no name, no registry, just a single white emblem, a clenched fist around a burning star. The dreadnought's captain, Admiral Vance, stared at the holographic map before him. Set course for the Council capital, he ordered. But, sir, his second-in-command asked, do we declare our return? Vance's voice was cold. They'll know when they see the sky go dark. The Galactic Council Chamber was supposed to be a place of calm deliberation, a fortress of diplomacy where reason triumphed over fear. But on this day, the air was heavy with tension. The towering crystalline walls refracted the glow of the central star into a million shimmering fragments. But instead of beauty, those shards of light felt sharp, dangerous like 1,000 blades. Pointed inward, representatives from over 200 species filled the amphitheater, their voices rising in a storm of accusation and disbelief. Holoscreens floated above the central dais, replaying the same footage over and over. Alien fleets burning, warships torn apart as if by invisible claws, and at the heart of it all, the shadow of a human vessel. It was sleek, black, and completely unregistered, moving like no ship the galaxy had ever seen. In one recording, it seemed to bend light around itself before unleashing a single pulse that vaporized an enemy cruiser. In another, it emerged from a debris field that hadn't existed. 5 seconds before, the ship had no name on record, no registry, no known transponder code. Ambassador Kethvar of the Zir Dominion slammed a clawed fist onto his desk, the crystalline surface cracking. This cannot be coincidence. That thing bears human design. Markers. I demand answers from the Terran delegation. The chamber fell silent. The Terran delegation was nothing more than an empty chair draped in black cloth. Humanity had not attended the council in over 70 years. Some said they'd retreated beyond charted space. Others claimed they'd gone extinct. Perhaps a cold voice slithered from the shadows of the upper gallery. The humans never left. All eyes turned to the speaker, a tall figure in layered silver robes, their face obscured by a ceremonial mask. This was Archivist VOR, keeper of the galaxy's restricted historical records. I have seen fragments, VOR continued. Old data, classified encounters, records of ships with similar designs, dating back to the last war. The mention of the last war sent a shiver through the chamber. 70 years ago, the galaxy had turned on humanity, branding them too dangerous to be trusted with. Galactic unity. Their fleets had been dismantled, their colonies seized, their homeworld blockaded. But not all human warships had been accounted for. Some had simply vanished. That council speaker Rava, an insectoid matriarch with wings of glass, struck her gavel. We will not give in to rumor. We will investigate. But mark my words, if the humans have returned, they will answer for. The chamber lights flickered. Every holoscreen went black dot then. A single image appeared, the silhouette of that same black warship. No sound, no movement, just a slow, deliberate rotation of the vessel, as though it were watching them. Across the lower corner of the feed, red words appeared in perfect galactic standard. We remember. The chamber erupted into chaos. Species shouted over each other, some demanding immediate military action, others whispering in fear. No one noticed that the signal had not come from any known relay station. It had been injected directly into the Council's secure systems from inside the chamber itself. Far above, hidden in the rafters where no one ever looked, a small black drone detached from the shadows and slipped silently into the vents dot somewhere beyond the edge of mapped space. The warship waited. The Galactic Council's war chamber was never silent. Even in times of peace, the holographic maps and shifting star charts hummed with motion. But now, it was chaos. Every display showed the same thing: human fleets moving in perfect formation, cutting across supply lines, bypassing border patrols, and striking deep inside enemy-held space. They shouldn't even be here, hissed Admiral Vorak of the Kling Dominion, his mandibles clicking in frustration. No one enters that sector without clearance. It's a dead zone. No gates, no drift lanes. They're not using gates, said a nervous Thalcor intelligence officer. We think they've built something new, faster than hyperlane travel. The council chamber went quiet. New travel technology meant unpredictability. An enemy could strike anywhere, without warning. And these weren't just fleets. They were ghost fleets. No registry, no IFF codes, no planetary origin. They appeared out of nothing, fought with brutal precision, and vanished like smoke. They're using old Terran tactics, murmured one Zainari observer, her tendrils curling. Hit and fade, psychological pressure. They're making us afraid to move. A war analyst tried to play down the fear. These raids are minor. Annoying, yes, but he didn't get to finish. The chamber's central display suddenly shifted to a live feed from the Zelther front. Dozens of alien warships were in defensive formation, until something rippled in space before them. A black vessel emerged, larger than any dreadnought, with no visible weapons, its surface lined with shifting silver patterns like liquid metal. The ship didn't fire. It simply appeared, and every alien ship's targeting system went dead at once. What is that? Vorak demanded. The Falcor officer's voice was shaking. "We've seen it before. A Terran construct. Designation unknown. Calcine." He hesitated, as if afraid to speak it. Nemesis. A feed showed the alien fleet scattering in panic. The Nemesis didn't pursue it, simply vanished again. The council chamber was silent for a full minute before a cold, distorted human voice came over the open combs. "You can't stop what's coming." The transmission ended, and in the war room, every alien leader realized they weren't hunting humans. They were being hunted. The council chamber was silent, now eerily so. The usual hum of translators, the murmur of private conversations, the flicker of holographic ads, all gone. Every alien leader sat rigid in their seat, their eyes locked on the single human who stood at the center of the floor. Ambassador Reeve didn't speak. He didn't need to. The black crystal sat in the council's central holodable, still glowing with the single chilling sentence that had appeared moments ago. "We are coming." The words had been written in Terran Standard, then instantly translated into every galactic language. No one could pretend they didn't understand that council. Speaker Varel finally broke the silence. "Ambassador, humanity was destroyed, eradicated. We confirm this." His voice trembled, but he tried to hide it. "This must be some kind of mistake." Reeves' voice cut through the chamber like a blade. "No, you're thinking of the last time you saw us. You thought the burning of Earth meant the end, that the scattering of our fleets into the void meant defeat. You believed we would not return." He stepped closer to the holodable. Every step echoed like a gunshot. "You were wrong." A few council members shifted uncomfortably. The Varn Dominion's representative, an insectoid, with gleaming chitin clipped its mandibles. "If you are attempting intimidation, human, understand this. The galaxy's fleets are united now. Whatever remnant you represent will be destroyed." Reeves' lips curled into the faintest smile. "You've tried that before." Before anyone could respond, the holodable flickered again. It was no longer just the words, it was live footage. Grainy at first, then sharpening. A black void filled the projection, broken only by the distant light of stars. Then, slowly, shapes emerged, massive, angular, utterly silent. Warships. Dozens at first, then hundreds, then thousands. They were. Unlike anything in the council's records, no registry codes, no design matches. Their hulls drank in light. Their silhouettes were jagged and predatory. Each carried the unmistakable emblem, an iron circle, with a single crimson star at its center. The Terran emblem. Impossible. Someone whispered. The footage zoomed out, revealing even more. The ships were moving in perfect formation, an armada so vast it blotted out entire constellations. Behind them, a shimmering wake, evidence of slipspace ruptures so massive they destabilized nearby systems. And at the very front, leading them all, was a ship so colossal the rest seemed like escorts. Its hull stretched for kilometers, its surface lined with weapon batteries that could level continents. Reeves' voice was low, calm, almost gentle. "That is the Aegis of Sol, our flagship. The last thing you will see if you force our hand." The council erupted into chaos, shouted debates, panicked questions, orders barked into comms. Some called for immediate mobilization. Others demanded negotiations. Reeves simply waited, watching them. "You think this is about revenge," he said when the noise subsided. "It's not. This is about memory. Humanity remembers everything. You did. Every betrayal. Every colony burned. Every refugee ship you let drift into the void." He leaned forward, his eyes locking with the council speakers. "We offered peace once. You spat on it. There will not be a second offer." The holodable feed suddenly cut to black, but the silence that followed was even heavier than before, because now Every leader in that chamber knew the truth. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy was running out of time.